Zack Phillips alongside Nick Alberga. Anthony Stolarz leaves after the first period, does not return to the game. Joseph Woll comes in relief for Stolarz here, Nick. What do you make of Stolarz leaving the game? Any of the reports that we've heard so far here coming out of this one immediately after? And is there cause for concern if you are a Maple Leafs fan right now?
So Craig Berube just spoke. He just labeled it as a lower body injury and that they'll know more tomorrow. So unsurprisingly, not much was said post game. I know our very own Frank Saravalli of Daily Faceoff saying it sounds more of a minor sort of precautionary type thing, but of course they got to do further testing on that front. So my initial reaction is like, oh damn. I mean, this guy's been buzzing along. He's in the Vezina conversation. He's having a really good start here. But I mean, weirdly enough, it's like you can count on one hand how many disappointing goals or soft goals, if you want to call them, he's surrendered this season. And it wasn't a pretty goal that opened up the scoring there for the Anaheim Ducks. And then you look back at the replay and you're like, oh, especially the Vetrano goal, right? So I think there's curiosity with that. I mean, not to pinpoint that play specifically, but just looking at his sort of body language after it went down and happened. He looked a bit off. And Berube saying after the game, too, that pretty much Stolarz went to him at the first intermission. They did some testing and then said he couldn't go pretty much. So Woll came in. He got like a quick, word from everybody involved that he was going in. But you can't help but sit here and think as a Maple Leafs fan, the very worst, right? Just because this has happened before to many different netminders, right?
Yeah, the one thing that concerned me as well when I watched that happen and I saw him go down was, okay, lower body. Is this going to be something that comes back around later on and is going to nag like we've seen with Joseph Woll here through the first couple of years with him being up with the team? Hopefully not. I'm going to ask you something that I think all Leafs fans are kind of having in the back of their mind. It's something that's always been a little bit like cryptic when we've heard players, coaches, GMs, and whatever come out and talk about it right away is, oh, yeah, it doesn't seem that bad. We heard that about Jake McCabe, and he missed a handful of games there. Is there any concern that this could be a more long-term injury for the Leafs team, something they're hiding up? I know we don't necessarily actually know, but just given the history of the team right now and anything that we've heard or seen here, do you have any concern about that?
Yeah, I guess so. I know right away the panel after the game on TV was talking about the stem cell and the knees and all this and that, and he's had history with his knees in the past, and it almost ended his career. I think it's only natural when it is the Toronto Maple Leafs, when there's been so much doom and gloom surrounding the position over the last 20 some odd years, that you automatically think the worst. Quite honestly, I don't know how to react. I will say I feel really good knowing there's another option waiting in the wings in Joseph Woll, Dennis Hildeby. I mean, they have options. It certainly doesn't help, Zach, that Matt Murray and Anthony Stolarz go down within like 7 days of each other, or even less than that. Like it's very leafy. But injuries are going to happen. It's now time for Joseph Woll to step up. We'll see how much time Anthony Stolarz has to miss. But I don't know about you. As soon as I saw Woll come in for the second, I'm like, here we go again, man.
I know it felt like Groundhog Day watching goaltenders go down for this team. Watching him stare at his legs was also like one of the most concerning feelings ever. That goal goes in. I didn't really think anything of it. I thought, oh, maybe he's looking at his pad or whatever. Nothing really still until the end of the period, and then we get the notification, hey, he's not coming back. Um, Lower body injury. Obviously, Frank Saravelli there saying it doesn't look like it's going to be long term. The next thing I do want to ask you about, or nothing too serious, that is, let's say that they just keep him out for a little bit longer. Okay, just hypothetical here. Keep him out for a little bit longer. Let's let this thing heal up. Let's not push him too hard. Whatever. Are you comfortable with what this Leafs team has behind him, and not just Joseph Woll, but the goaltenders that you've got in the minors right now, particularly Dennis Hildeby, having to come up and fill in what could be an unknown amount of time with him being out?
Zach, it's got to be next man up, right? We've seen this throughout this early season where somebody goes down and somebody elevates. It could be Dennis Hildeby time. I think you always have to be careful when it comes to Joseph Woll and how you deploy him, knowing his injury history. This is such a big moment in his career. By the way, officially, from Frank Saravalli, who I believe was on the Prime broadcast tonight, just saying not believed to be incredibly significant. But again, Craig Berube after the game saying that Stolarz needed further testing. But to answer your question, it just has to be that mentality. And I think the Leafs have to carry it from the guys up front and all the injuries they've had to just playing very compact in front of their netminders. I think you got to give them credit. They win this game. Woll comes in cold in the second period and solidifies the victory. But I believe in the system, if that's what you're asking me. So, yeah, it hurts losing Anthony Stolarz, but next man up for me.
The last thing that was kind of on my mind here, I know kind of circling back to something I've already asked you about, already talked about here, but Stolarz has that, plays the rest of the period, gets out of the period, they do some testing, they go through all that kind of stuff. Doesn't seem like it's that serious. Do you think that there's just an element with this Leafs team right now of treating their goaltenders with extra precaution? Like, oh, you felt the slightest little tug, that's it for you. Shut it down, get out. Because A, you've got the confidence in the other guy. If it's Woll in net and he goes down, Stolarz is going to be fine. Stolarz goes down, Woll's going to be fine in replacement. You're okay with that. Like you said, trust the system. Hildeby's there. Do you think that there's maybe just a little bit of like a bubble wrap around these goaltenders in the eyes of the management and the coaching staff here in Toronto right now with the way that they're treating and handling these guys?
I can't go that far because, quite honestly, I know we're sort of, in this pressure cooker of a market, but this happens everywhere in this league, man. Like, goalies go down left and right. I joke about it on a daily basis on Leafs Morning Take on social media that we need a goaltending summit, man. We really do. Like, it's just such a different era, and all the analytics, all the numbers pertaining to back-to-backs, and just in general, these guys are not as durable. I don't know what it is. I mean, there's been plenty of studies on them. Former goalies have spoken about it. They just can't stay healthy. It's not just the Joseph Woll thing. It's not just a Matt Murray thing. I mean, list the amount of goalies just specifically in this market. Ilya Samsonov, Freddie Anderson. You look around the league, I think every team deals with this type of stuff. Again, it's just more so under the microscope here in Toronto. So I wouldn't read too much directly into that. I think anytime there's a tweak or something going on with any player, never mind if it's a goalie or a forward or a D for that matter, I think you're going to take precaution. Many people in the chat, I should say, illustrating, yeah, it is mid-December. Okay, a lot of racetrack remaining in this season.
Yeah.
You just want to get your goaltenders right. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Roseau. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.